When I say Medusa, what do you picture in your head? A snake-head monster or an innocent woman who sinned against by the gods? Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Harry's Book Cafe. Today we're going to talk about Natalie Haynes' Stone Blind, a reimagining of Medusa's life. I was never quite a big Greek mythology fan until a couple of years ago. I read the book Circe and I was really enjoying that book. It was beautiful writing, and also the reimagination of Circe, more popularly known as the witch or the goddesses who turn sailors into pigs. So that book had a huge impact on me because it was like opening a new door or acquiring a new book, finding out there are a wealth of story hidden behind what we've been told on the surface. There's a much deeper level. You know, what we've been told on the surface is that Circe is a witch who turns people into pig. But that book peels off the skin and dive much deeper into what makes her the way she was, the story of her, and it had a huge impact on me, and I really enjoyed that book. So when Natalie Haynes' Stone Blind was first published, I was really intrigued because it was the reimagination of the life of Medusa. You know, the snake-head monster who turned people into stone with a single glance. So I was really intrigued. I finally managed to get a copy from my local library, and I just finished reading that. And it was fantastic. It tells the story. So the story starts with her abandonment. Being the third sister of the Gorgon family, she was the child of two god and goddesses of the sea. So she somehow ended up being mortal, where her both sisters, Euryclea and Cethino, are both immortal and incredibly powerful, almost as powerful as some of the Olympian gods. So she was abandoned on the front of their cave entrance, and when the sister came out, at first they didn't know. They thought she was a human baby and wanting to eat her, only realized that she was a Gorgon because of the tiny wings behind her back. And they realized that their parents actually delivered this baby for the sisters to look after. And the Gorgons were really caring. They didn't know how to take care of a mortal child, but they learned over time, and somehow, against all odds, Medusa grew up. And she loved her sisters, and their sisters absolutely loved her. For the first time in their lives, the Euryclea and Cethino has learned to fear, because they were immortal. They are very powerful. They never feared anything. They don't feel pain. But because of this vulnerable life placed in their hand, and they love this vulnerable life, Medusa, they suddenly fear for everything. And it seems that they have this fear for a reason. So when Medusa was grown up to be, 14, 15, her curiosity grew with her age, and she wanted to explore her surroundings on her own and get out of the shadow of her sisters. With reluctance, the sisters allowed Medusa to wander to Athena's temple, which is not far from the cave where they live, on the coastline, located in a village not far away. There's a massive Athena's temple. So Medusa went there and marveled at the temple. Now, unbeknown to her and her Gorgon sisters, is that the sea god Poseidon has been observing Medusa for quite a long time, and he has a very nasty ulterior motive. So he followed Medusa into the temple and assaulted her. This in turn angered Athena. You know, the Athena that we've been told, the goddesses of war, the goddesses of wisdom. She's probably both of these, but she's also very vengeful, vindictive, and nasty, in my opinion. And she has featured in Circe, the book I mentioned before, and she has assumed that nasty character even in that book. Unable to punish her uncle, Poseidon, she devised a plan to punish Medusa. Now, after being assaulted, Medusa went back home and she refused to eat and she refused to get out because she feared that Poseidon will be looking at her the moment she stepped out of that cave. Now, the Gorgon sisters spent a lot of time and effort because they love her and nurtured her back to a semblance of her normal self. Now, just when she was on her journey back to recovery, Athena visited her one day and cursed her, because the reason Athena is so angry with Medusa is because she dared to be assaulted in her temple. Now, think about that logic, how spiteful Athena is. So she punished Medusa because Medusa have the audacity to be assaulted by Poseidon in her temple. But anyway, so you know the snake heads, the snake for hair on Medusa's face, head, that was the result of Athena. And her ability to turn people into stone is also a curse bequeathed to her by Athena. While the story is developing, we are then diverted our attention to another side of the story, which involved in Perseus, the Greek hero who slayed or decapitated Medusa in the story. And so the story is focused on him. He then came to, eventually with the help of Hermes, the god of messenger, and Athena, with their help, he managed to infiltrate into the Gorgon's cave and managed to behead Medusa. There are really classic scenes. Oh, by the way, the reason that Athena and Hermes were helping him is because Perseus was the son of Zeus, and Zeus ordered these two gods to help him. A very classic couple of chapters where it involved a conversation between the three of them, Hermes, Athena, and Perseus, just absolutely priceless. It was such a funny conversation, and that was 2 chapters long, and it just one-liners and deadpan. It was deadpan from especially from Athena's perspective. It's just hilarious. I really enjoyed that particular paragraph. A couple of pages. It was hilarious. So yeah, that's the story of Medusa, and the quintessential message, when we take out all the other distractions and distillate this message, that message is that Medusa is really someone who's been sinned against. She was an innocent woman, and by the cruelty of Athena, by the lecherousness of Poseidon, and by the cowardice of Perseus, she was the monster that we perceive today. The book itself is quite easy to read. I really enjoyed it. The writing is not lyrical, but very straightforward and succinct, which also I liked quite a lot. It makes it a very quick read, really a big page turner. The only thing that I wish is that more effort should have really been placed on the story of Medusa. Even though the book itself, Stone Blind, is all about the I can't pronounce this word, reimagining of the life of Medusa, I would say perhaps around 50% of the story of the book is actually on Medusa. The rest is on Athena, Zeus, the Olympian gods, and Perseus, which I can't understand, because to fully appreciate the life of Medusa, we can't do that without knowing who Perseus is. And we can't know who Perseus is without knowing who Zeus is. And we can't know who Zeus is without knowing all the other Olympic gods. So I can understand. I just wish that the book, because of this limitation, can be a little bit longer. Instead of 300 pages, maybe 400 pages, and add 100 pages more just on Medusa. I just felt that despite reading this book, I wish I know more about Medusa. That's the only criticism. Other than that, I think it's an absolutely amazing book. I really love Greek mythology and especially reimagination. And the two books that I read so far, this one, The Stone Blind and Circe, are both fantastic. So I'm definitely going to read more because Natalie Haynes, the author of this book, also wrote 1,000 Ships, and that's, I think, about the Trojan War, which is amazing. So I really want to read that one next as well. So have you read this book, Circe or Stone Blind or the 1,000 Ships? If you have, or wish to read in the future, please let me know down in the comment below. And because this is a new channel, I really appreciate if you can give us a thumb up and subscribe to the channel. It really does help with YouTube algorithm and help this channel to grow in the future and bring more contents like this. But yes, that's the end of this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. So until next time, cheerio.